Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Empower Your Team. Today, we are joined by Dana Kaplan, who is an award-winning retired classroom educator turned educator for the world. Through coaching, teaching, and mentoring kids, teens, and young adults, each curiously discover their inner superpowers and embody their unique magic. When partnering with schools and organizations, she empowers community to create infinite space for all to confidently and courageously step into their leadership. Most importantly, she unwaveringly believes accessibility and inclusivity for all to feel rich belonging is everyone's birthright. Today and tomorrow's youth deserve to be heard, seen, valued, and loved without pressure or conditions. Love it. Dana, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be on this journey with you because I love what you're bringing into the world, and I love the opportunities that you're giving to today's youth that are sometimes shied away from or not discussed. So I'm excited to support you and your community and everyone listening. So thank you.
Well, likewise. So would you mind sharing with us just really quickly how it is that you came to the work that you do?
So as you can see, I have lots of colors and charts and things behind me. They're partly for me and partly for you and the world. So I am a neurodiverse learner, and I don't take learning lightly. I think it's really important that we discover how we learn and the ways that we can thrive in our own learning, while also being open and available to learning in different environments, in different spaces, and in different structures. So I was always thinking there was something wrong with me as a learner. Like, why was reading so hard? Why was I always having to study much harder? Why was I cheating, right? Like, why was I doing all of these like taboo, don't talk about situations? And I never felt good. I never felt smart enough. I never felt good enough. I never felt like I actually belonged anywhere of where I was supposed to be. And through all of that, I discovered that, hold on a second, it's not me that there's something wrong with. It's the fact that no one actually tried to figure out how to help me with my learning. And no one took the time to get curious. And no one took the time to say, you know what, testing is one way, but what if we interviewed you? What if you wrote an essay? What if you created your own play? What if you created this, three-dimensional project that highlighted the literacy, the science, and the math all together, promoting all that you know? And when I applied to when I applied to the teaching school at the University of Wisconsin, I didn't get in because I didn't test well. And so I was like, how is it that my desire and passion to be changing the world and for learning and education is being told no because of a test, right? And so, I'm up against this like big, strong, hard wall, and nothing was working. And so when I decided to get my master's in early childhood education, and what I discovered was that everything is so prescribed. And if we continuously do what is prescribed versus stepping outside of our comfort zone and taking the essential positive risks for us to get curious about who we are, get curious about who we're working with, to foster rich relationships, then we're just continuing this cycle of robotic beings. And so I got my master's and went into teaching, and really blew up education in a whole new way, and realized that wherever I was going, I was disrupting the spaces. And whether or not the space was ready for the disruption, it was just happening because
Ready or not,
I was like, we don't have to be studying inside of a classroom. Like we're learning about plants. Like, let's go dig in the grass. Let's see what we find in there. Why is the soil so nutrient based? Like, why are these plants thriving and why are these dying over here, right? Like, let's get our hands dirty and really study and get in there. And so what it taught me was that first, always just keep going and keep pushing the envelope, because every envelope that I would push allowed another child to step forward into a light that they didn't know they could, that was even available for them.
Mhm.
And the other piece that I learned was that I don't hear the word no. I don't. The word no doesn't work for me at all. I will always find a way to make opportunities come alive. And so when I chose to leave the classroom, it was because I knew that I could make opportunities become alive for more and more kids and families globally than just 25 kids in a classroom each year. And choosing to leave the classroom was a really hard decision, because I'm so invested in bringing culture and creativity and compassion to humans, and knowing I would have been playing safe if I stayed in the classroom.
Mm.
And I don't want to teach playing safe. It's important to take those risks, to fall down, to know that you tried, because nothing is a failure unless you don't try. And so that's where I am now. And so I'm constantly encouraging. And even right before I got on with you, one of my 19-year-olds said to me, I don't think I've been showing up for myself. And I was like, oh, that's such an interesting comment. Like, where's this coming from? He's like, I've been wanting to do X, but doing X is so not the purpose of what we're trying to do here. And I've been saying it from day one, but when you're not on the same playing field with someone,
Mhm.
it's just crossing, and it's not going to do anything. And he sent me a long text, and then I was like, can we speak on the phone? And we got on the phone, and he was like, I need to reframe my whole intention of us working together. And I was like, I'm so excited. Thank you. This is not for your mom. It's not for your dad. It's for you. And you're 19, and the whole world is yours. And if you choose to show up for you, then the world is going to show up for you.
Mhm.
And that's what it took.
Yeah.
And so that's all I had.
I'm so glad that you are doing this work, that you are finding other ways to educate and teaching to other types of learning. I think that's amazing. I think it was Sir Ken Robinson that said alternative learning shouldn't be alternative. Like, it's just such a richer way to learn that maybe everyone should try it.
It's interesting because I'm constantly like, don't shit on yourself. But in this moment, we need to look beyond what we're doing. We need to, like, this sign right here. I live in Florida. So let me just paint this picture for you. I moved to Florida because I want the sunshine. And for 3 days straight, when I moved into this apartment, it was just gray skies. And I was like, what am I doing? Like, this isn't, like, I can't do this. So I literally drew my own sun so that I could see it. If I looked over, I could see it. If I was looking on in a call, in a meeting, I would see it. Like, we have to do for ourselves in order to make spaces thrive for us. And I think that's the biggest lesson when it comes to propelling kids to take their own risks, and to let the parents know your job is to keep your child safe. You cannot save them. You keep them safe.
Mm-hmm.
You keep them safe by teaching them. You keep them safe by modeling. You keep them safe by coaching and mentoring and supporting.
Mm-hmm.
But you do not keep them safe by saving them.
Mm.
And when you choose to control and try and save your child, the only person that's going to be disappointed is yourself.
Mm.
And the relationship that you're trying to cultivate will never be.
Wow. Wow.
And that's why it's so important to let us each be on our own journey, to let us each make our own choices, and to know that I made a choice, and this choice is mine. And regardless of the outcome, I'm proud of myself for making a choice.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, right? Because this week is all about preparing our kids for life after high school. And life after high school means not living in the same house as our parents, but most likely, right? You might still be around, but also having a lot more agency over our life, which can be a big transition for parents, right? So what are some of the top tip or some of the top tips that you have for parents to support their children through this time of them kind of stepping out into their own journey?
What I think first is to ask the parents to give themselves the gift of time, to allow that time of feeling sad that their child's not with them anymore, right? Like, this is a launching pad. This is a time to propel. And yes, they'll come back and visit, but it's not ever going to be the same again as it was for the first 18 years of their child's life. So it's also really important to first encourage parents to take that time and cry and scream and feel like a 2-year-old because they're losing something. And also to love on themselves so much to know that it's okay to feel the way you're feeling. And it makes sense to feel the way you're feeling. You've been the number one priority in your child's life. You've been that person for them. So first, honor yourself in that space. And then the second is to really lean into the concept of trust. So the idea of trust, we hear trust your gut or just trust me. But what does that really mean? And what does it really feel like? The physiological components of trust, right? So for me, I'm just gonna move my camera down. Like, when I feel like I'm not trusting myself and I feel like something's going on, I literally put my hand just below my rib, like just below, like right at my diaphragm. So I can feel like the soft spot of my stomach, like abdominal region, but also I feel, okay, I can take a breath. Where is it tight in my body? Where am I able to actually feel where that oxygen is going? Where am I actually able to honor my body and honor my ability to trust myself, right? And so then when I can say, oh, I feel really tight in my chest. Okay, well, that means I need to take some breaths. I need to slow down, and I really need to look at my bigger space of what is creating this tightness, this stress, this uncomfortable feeling in my body, so that I can trust myself to also calm my body down, right? We're so quick to prescribe medicine today. And to be very clear, I am on medicine. I take medicine for ADHD. I take medicine for anxiety. I am not opposed to medicine, but I also know, and it's a huge but, if I only rely on the medicine and don't do the inner work on myself, the medicine is only a Band-Aid. So allowing yourself as the parent to say, okay, let me make sure my child understands how they're physiologically feeling. Where are they feeling that tightness? Where are they feeling the nervousness? Where are they feeling the excitement, right? Because sometimes it could be in our stomach. Sometimes it could be in our head. Sometimes it could be, oh my God, I can't talk, like the words are stuck in my throat, right? And there are all these different little components. So the second piece is teaching kids how to discover their inner trust. And that actually needs to be taught in an early age, so that when they do launch, when they do leave, that they know that walking down a dark alley, leaving a class, that's not safe. And they need to make sure that they're with friends, and they need to make sure that, they have a safe word, and they have these abilities to feel safe in their body. So that's really important to give that to parents. And then once parents have separated from my child and themselves, which is another big piece, tip number 3, huge piece. Your child's journey is their own journey. Your journey is your own journey, right? Like, when we look at parents that have gotten multiple divorces and the kids want to blame the parents, well, this is why I can't be in a relationship because you never modeled it for me. No, that's not true. Yes, your parents had multiple relationships. Yes, your parents went through multiple divorces. However, you can choose now to get curious about, what do healthy relationships look like? Let's get you a coach. Let's get you into some classes, into group coaching, right? So that you can learn and hear from other people about their experiences and create a new narrative about what a healthy relationship looks like, sounds like, and feels like. So when you're looking at all of those different things, it's so important that you go back to, my child is on their journey and I'm on my journey, and I have to trust them just like the kids have to trust the parents. And I think those are the most critical when we first start to think about, how do we prepare a kid to launch out into the world? Because when I was in the classroom, I always remember doing this experience with parents in kindergarten. They would come in and you could see the frenetic energy. You could see the trauma of whatever they experienced. And I had to literally do a visualization exercise with them for them to detach and remember what they experienced in kindergarten is not what their child would experience in kindergarten. Mm. And it's the same thing for parents now. What you experienced in college or what you experienced in a gap year or what you experienced in your work is not what your child is going to experience. You can share your stories. You can share your insight. It's highly encouraged to do all of that. And they're on their own journey. And they're on their own journey. And they are on their own journey. And you keep saying that to yourself over and over and over, because your intention is to love and support, not save.
Man, okay, so what do you do if, your kid is trying to make some decisions about things and you're thinking, I know them so well. I know that this would be a good path for them, or this would be a good decision for them. How do you help them find these answers when they're on their own journey?
I think, first of all, when we go back to thinking about when kids are kids, right? Like when it comes down to playing baseball or when it comes down to dance class, like I was a big dancer. I don't want my children to be dancing. When the day comes that I have children, I don't want them dancing because I dance. I want them dancing because there's something in moving their body and listening to the rhythms of the music that just inspires them and ignites something within them, right? That passion, that purpose. And that same teaching of how do you find your passion and purpose out on the baseball field or in the dance class or, learning how to be a DJ. You help them do that when they go off to college. I knew I wanted to be in education. I also knew I really wanted to be in fashion. I did not want to be teaching fashion. I wanted to be the best dressed kindergarten teacher. That's all I knew, right? So here it was, I bridged my world. I loved my world of fashion and I loved the world of education. And that's how I knew I was going to do them both together. Not everyone's going to be able to take their visions and put them together, right? Now, with that same note, my parents are like, well, you're going to need to get another job because you shop too much. So like, there is always something going on there. But at the same point, asking your kids now before they launch, what is it that you're interested in? I noticed that you were taking a class and then you stopped. Let's look at some of the patterns that have been happening as you're learning. So you take a class and every 6 months, it seems like you're done. What's happening at the 6th month and 1 day mark or the 7th month? Like, how can we get you to get to the 9th month? What do you think we can do? How can I help you? What do you think you're missing here? And it's really getting curious, right? And maybe they don't know. And maybe it's, through the conversation, you guys can come up with the answer or the potential answers together. But it's more of giving them the opportunity to talk and to express and to know that it is coming from a curious space and not a judgmental space.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Asking them, what do you need? What can I do for you? Let's figure this out together. I really like that. Can we shift gears just a little bit?
Of course.
I would love to get your opinion as a neurodivergent learner and teacher when it comes to this whole like choosing education after high school. What advice do you have for neurodivergent learners when it comes to college versus some other educational option?
I love this question so much because if you'd asked me this question 10 years ago, a decade ago, 5 years ago, no, I think it started to shift a decade ago. A decade ago, I would have said every person needs to go to college. They need to know what it's like to be on their own. And now my answer is different. Everyone needs to know what it's like to be alone and to have that independence and to be independent from your parents. Some, though, especially those that look at school as a chore, look at learning as a chore, where the systemic structures of education are too constraining for them.
Mhm.
I first highly encourage internships. Take a gap year and go in and get an internship. I also highly encourage taking a gap year and going to volunteer someplace where it is in a space that you are giving back and you're also receiving, right? It's like an inhale, exhale. Like every time I inhale, I'm getting oxygen from the trees. And so now I've got to exhale and give the carbon dioxide back, right? And it's that same kind of energetic exchange that we want to make sure the kids are understanding, that they don't get to just sit around and do nothing, that they have to go out and try and get their feet wet and fall. And so when it comes down to school and to traditional, colleges and universities and what have you afterwards, I think it's really important for kids to get curious about what is it in college do I want to be doing?
Mm-hmm.
Do I want to just go and take classes because I'm curious and I want to learn a lot and, major in literacy? Great. What will I do with that literacy? Maybe nothing, and that's okay too. Maybe I'll go to med school. Okay, great. If I don't know what I want to be doing, and I also know that I am a savvy learner and I can watch a YouTube video and then build my own computer, your child doesn't necessarily need to be going to college. Your child needs to get their hands dirty, and they need to start getting really creative and really curious about who can I go and learn from? How can I take my learning and expand it and enrich it? And going to college may not be what is best for them, right? Now, if you're going into a field where you have to be certified, teaching, law, medicine, any kind of space where finance, like any kind of space where you have to have degrees in order to do the task at hand, then yes, you're going to have to go to college and you're going to have to figure out a new path. And one of the biggest gifts that I give all of my clients is helping them discover what kinds of questions do I need to know about myself in order to go and share with a facility so they can provide the help I need, right? It's really easy for all of us to make sure the kids have a 504 and IEP when they go off to college. But if the kid doesn't know why they have it, it's just a piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
So every person that I work with that has the 504 or an IEP or an IEP, they know exactly why they have it. They know exactly how to use it for them.
Nice.
And it starts in the third, like my youngest kid with an IEP right now is in the third grade, and they know exactly how to use their IEP. And they know that each session I'm checking in with them. Did you ask for extra help during your math test? Did you get an extended period of time? Did you go and sit in a different room? One of my students that is just took the PSATs right at the end of, I guess it was right at the end of, what is that, June, May, something like whenever it was like PSAT day or SAT day or whatever it was in high school. I was like, you have to make sure that you're asking to be put into a quiet space where nothing can be distracting. And if they don't have a room just for you, then you get to take this on a separate day, right? And reinforcing, like them doing the role playing, like I'm going to be the principal and you're going to come and tell me it's too loud in that room, right? Making sure that they can confidently go forward and ask for what they need. And those are these skills, those life skills that we don't teach in school. And the life skills that we're not teaching in school is exactly why the bridge is now open and people are falling and no one's there to catch them. Mm-hmm. And that is why mental health is still stigmatized. Mm-hmm. That is why people are really physically feeling like they're drowning instead of being caught in a life raft. And it's our job to help them close the bridge so they can walk over and get to the other side safely. And give them the power to do so independently.
I love that you are teaching young people self-advocacy. That's something, when I was growing up, it was just, you didn't ask for more. You just, I get what I get, and that sort of thing. And so I love that you're teaching them that it's okay to do that. And also, here's what to ask for. Like, it's okay when you need this, but also let's look at what do you need? How do you know what to need? So I love that you're doing that.
Thank you. I love it. I think it's, it's really cool to listen to kids and also not for anything. It's amazing to listen to parents change their language. Like one of the parents that I'm working with is high up in the C-suite of a Fortune 100 company, and listening to how their child has changed their language has also helped the parent change their language.
Yeah.
And that is what's so brilliant and beautiful, is that we're all each other's teachers and we're all each other's support system, right? I don't like, everyone calls me Dana. Like I was never Miss Kaplan. I was never like, I had some parents who were like that you have to put the miss in front of your name because that's just, we need to differentiate you between our kids.
Yeah.
If their parents weren't around, they called me Dana. Like,
Yeah.
it's because I don't look at you any differently than I look at myself. And if I don't know, I'm going to let you know. And if I do know, I'm going to let you know. And if I need your help, I'm going to let you know. I mean, again, with another client earlier, I called a sibling and I was like, I really need your help with your sibling. I need you to get your sibling on our call. They're struggling. They're sabotaging. Let's help them, right? I'm not calling the parent. I'm not calling the grandparents. These are 25 and 23-year-old adults. But are they really? Because their brains haven't fully developed.
Right, right.
So, it's really important that we give space and time.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for the work that you do. So we unfortunately are needing to wrap up, but before we go, would you please tell us about the free gift that you brought for families?
Yes, I love having uncomfortable conversations. And uncomfortable conversations. Yeah, and uncomfortable conversations do not have to be hard. And that's why I call them uncomfortable conversations, because what's uncomfortable for me may be easy breezy for you and vice versa. Nothing has to be hard. Nothing has to be hard. And we're so quick to say that's so hard. We can't have that kind of a conversation. And so when you go to my website and you sign up for my newsletters, it'll pop into your email instantaneously, and you can there's a video on how you support your kids having uncomfortable conversations, tips for you having uncomfortable conversations with your own friends and family, and then also links to support your kids with visuals. So there's lots of ways to support as you launch into the world.
Thank you so much. So everyone, the link for that is going to be right below this video. So make sure you snag that. I know I need it. Dana, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. And I'm just so grateful that you're doing all the work for these parents and giving them these resources. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. Talk to you soon.
Bye.